Okay. Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Hank.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Is it okay if you just briefly introduce yourself to the audience and your background in real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Hank Bertodato. I reside in Cape Coral, Florida. My office is in Naples, Florida. So basically paradise almost every single
Okay.
day. So my background is I actually came from the hospitality world. So I did hospitality for 15 years, started in country clubs, worked my way up to hotels, and actually accidentally got into real estate.
For
So,
real. That's
yeah,
funny. I used to work in coffee shops a lot, so like that was just my life all through uni and then after until I started doing sort of online marketing kind of stuff.
yeah.
How did you find the switch from hospitality to real estate? Like what provoked you to do that?
Oh man. So back in 2010 was the large BP oil spill that happened in the
Right.
Gulf of Mexico. So some people may remember it, some might not. It was this global thing because there was tons of oil in the water killing animals, and our tourism in Florida just took a nosedive. And so the company I was working for said, Hank, we can't afford you anymore. We're losing too much money. And so my buddy had a property management company on Fort Myers Beach, and he's like, "Come work for me." And that was basically how I accidentally got into real estate.
It's
A year
just
and a half
accidentally.
later, yeah, it was crazy because a year and a half later, I was walking in his office and I saw a commission check on his desk, and I was like, "Wait a second, you made that much for selling that home?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Dude, where do I get my license?"
That's amazing. How long was
Yeah.
it before you until you got a commission like that yourself?
Oh, it was a couple years, to be honest. So, real estate, you're working for yourself. You're building a business. Um, a lot of agents that want to get into the business, they're like, "Oh, it's quick money, it's easy." No, it's definitely not. For anyone that's just thinking about it, or watching your friends do it and living the lifestyle they do, I mean, it's not easy. So I mean, it probably couple years, because in the beginning I had a young family. We just had our first son, and I was waiting tables and bartending, but I was dedicated to real estate. I would do real estate from 7, 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, then go wait tables all night. And I did this for about two-ish years until I finally got the business rolling. And my wife got licensed, I believe, in like 2016. And ever
Yeah.
since she came on board, we're a husband and wife team. It just kind of snowballed. We started doubling our business every single year, and we're full time into it, and it's been a great ride.
That's
You know,
amazing. When people think of real estate agents, I don't think they always associate the struggle and the hustle that goes in before you guys actually get to a point where it's profitable. Because if you're working in a cafe or hospitality like half of the day while still doing your real estate, like obviously you're not really making enough money to live off your real estate dream. So yeah, it's not as easy or as luxurious as people make it out to be, I suppose.
yeah, no, definitely not. If I was to look at all my commissions over my 12 years in real estate and how many hours I put in 12 years, I probably sit about $2.50 an hour, to be honest with you. You
For
know,
real?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality of it,
Mm,
but as you get more mature in this business and you build up your clientele, you know, obviously that number skews,
okay.
but it's hustling, it's grinding, it's working your sphere of influence, it's going out there and procuring new business, whatever your comfort is, whether it's cold calling or door knocking or sending out mailers. What I think one of the big mistakes that agents make is they try and fit themselves into a box. And it could be like what their broker says, like, "Hey, you got to do this." And that's a huge mistake because real estate agents, very successful ones, work to their personality. So, not everyone's a cold call. I'm not a cold caller. I hate
Yeah.
cold calling. You know, you
What do you
cold
prefer
call and you
doing?
say, "Hey, I want to list your house," and they're like, "No, Hank, f off." And I'm just like, "Wait a second, you don't even know me. How could you know? You don't know my background, my history,
Yeah.
my work ethics." Like, so for me, like the rejection on the phone was just like, "No, I'm not cold calling." You know, so
Yeah.
I dove into my sphere of influence, my networking, and my social media to really kind of pull out those customers and clients that I want to work with and they want to work with me. So that was,
It's
that
tough
just,
cold calling, man. Well, past year or so, I've been working knocking doors, selling broadband, which I'm doing less and
mhm.
less of now. Might not even do it again because I've got my own business now, but I know how hard it is getting those rejections. But I was literally doing it in person, just knocking on people's doors, like, "Hey, it's about this work we're doing on the internet. You wanna buy some broadband?" And they're just like, "Fuck you! Who are you? I don't want it. I'm not interested." And I'm like, "You don't even know what this is. I could be
Yeah,
giving you
exactly.
£1 million," but they don't want to hear it. They don't want to be
No,
disappointed.
they definitely don't. And it's the
Yeah, it's
way kind
rough.
of our culture and everything's going. A lot of people want to, and I think COVID changed a lot of things too, though. You
Probably,
know,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, just in the respect that everyone's like, hey, kind of reserved, gonna keep to themselves, gonna do their own thing. And I think technology has also changed that as well. Like, they don't need you to knock on their door to get broadband. They just
Mm.
a couple clicks on the internet and they're like, oh, there's a deal today, better than
Yeah,
what George could give me. So hey, I'm gonna click
this is
this
it.
deal and it's set up in 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's true. I'm not bad at it though. I know
Oh, I'm
how
not
to.
saying
I
you're
know.
bad. Yeah,
No, no.
George, you suck. You should
Ah,
never do it again.
well, hopefully I won't have to.
There you go.
That's crazy,
There you
man.
go.
So
It's a
how
different
does it?
animal though to door knock, especially in the States.
Yeah.
It can be pretty scary depending on, where you're at, who you're door knocking. Like,
Well, when I
where I'm
first
at
got into
Florida,
it, I was listening to a
what's
lot of
that?
podcasts. I was listening to a lot of podcasts that were American podcasts where they were talking about door knocking, and
Mm-hmm.
it sounded like just a completely different world to here in the UK. You get
It
people chasing
is.
you with guns. Just
Yeah,
like, it's terrifying.
it is. It is, especially in Florida, because we're a stand your ground state. So, like, if you go on someone
Okay.
else's property, like,
Yeah.
and
Do you
you're
get any door
trespassing and
knockers?
you're not leaving, there's
Right.
there's some bad things that could happen to you. So, um,
Yeah.
but again, that's just one kind of aspect of real estate would be the door knocking or the cold calling.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of different ways to prospect for real estate. And I think agents just think there's one, two, or three of them. And that's one of the mistakes they make too.
What are some of the
One of the
ways that
stats,
you prospect?
the ways that I prospect. So,
Yeah.
for me, it's social media, it's
Okay.
word of mouth, it's referrals. We built up this referral business that we're basically 100% referrals now. So our phone rings and people are like, hey, I mean, we just actually, it's funny because yesterday I got a call from a lady that wants to list her house. And I was like, well, how did you hear about us? And she goes, well, my painter, Tony D, is at my house right now, who happens to be my friend of 13 years. And we sold him a house probably like 5 years ago. So it was like, I was like,
True.
yeah, Tony D, thanks, buddy. And because he had such a great experience with us, um, he's willing to go out there and just say, hey, listen, you got to call Hank and Gina. There's no one else you need to call. And they called me yesterday and they were super excited. I was like, man, this is awesome. Because he
Mm.
edified us, he talked us up.
Yeah.
And so that's another big part of our business is we don't do this for the commission. I think that's another pitfall of agents is they see the commission, they see the dollar signs, and they'll do whatever they can to make that money instead of building the relationship and not looking for the one sale, but looking for the 10 sales because they're going to refer you to friend after friend after friend after friend.
See,
Yeah,
that's like the best compliment you can get, a
a
referral.
thousand percent. And here's the other thing, George.
Hmm.
Would you rather go out there and door knock or cold call, or would you rather have your phone ring because you've built a business built on reputation and trust and, customer service, work ethic, you know, and
Absolutely.
and I think that's why it took us a little bit longer to get started than, some other agents because we're in it for the long haul. I'm pretty young. I mean, I'll be 40 this year, but I got a long
Young.
time in this game.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
still a lot
How
of
long have you
years
been in the
left in me.
game?
Well, I've been in the game 12 years now.
Oh, sweet. Sweet. So you were like 28 when you started?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
roughly. Yeah, right
Okay.
around 28, 27, 28, which is still pretty young to get in real estate. I mean, the average age is, I think, 62, 58 or
Right.
62, somewhere in there.
Sorry, 62?
Yeah, average age in Florida for real estate agents.
That's crazy.
I know. But we have a lot older demographic.
Okay.
So if you look at it like NAR, the National Association of Realtors, I think it's like 47 years old is the average.
Fair
So,
enough. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you wish you started younger?
Oh my gosh, yes. I wish I
Yeah.
got my license at 18,
Yeah.
you know.
How do you think
But
things would be different if you had?
they would. But here's the thing, George, I
Hmm.
wouldn't probably be on this podcast today.
Probably
I'm a
not.
big believer in everything happens for a reason, and it's the journey that you take. And the big thing for me is what am I going to leave behind for my kids, my reputation? What's my legacy going to be?
Hmm.
So
What do
there's
you want it to be?
yeah, exactly. And you're going to get out what you put in.
Yeah. I love that. So what are the plans for the business going forward?
Yeah, so the plans going forward. So I actually work for the agency, which is a international luxury boutique firm. So, we have, I think, 80 or 83 offices across the world and some of the most luxurious second, third, and fourth home locations everywhere. And so, with that, we have under 1,500 agents globally, which is not a lot if you look at like major real estate companies. You've got stuff like Keller Williams has 100,000 and Remax has like 70,000, and the list goes on. But for us, we want to keep it smaller. I mean, our average price per listing is $2.2 million, so which is pretty high.
Bad. Yeah.
There's not very many companies that can say that their average price point for all of their agents is 2.2 million. You
That's
know,
insane.
um, so for us in the business plan is we're relatively new to Naples, Florida. So
Okay.
we've opened just over a year ago. Just had our grand opening, and the Naples market is a luxury market. I'm not sure how familiar you are with it, but it's a
Damn.
it's a high end market.
Right.
And with that, my company goal as the managing broker is to have $1 billion in sales a year. Which is a pretty hefty goal, especially since we just opened.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
amazing. How long do you think
yeah.
it will take to get to that point?
I mean, my goal is by the end of next year.
Yeah?
And it's a pretty lofty goal. But at the end of the day, I mean, last year I think we were at 200 million as a company.
Mm.
This year, I think we'll be flirting with like 350. But because
Okay.
we're new and we're building up, I see no reason why we can't be in between 700 and $1 billion next year in sales.
Yeah, why not?
Which is a lot. It's a lot of real estate.
It's a lot of houses.
It is. It is. But with a price point, average of 2.2 million, it's not as
Mm.
many as if you were selling $200,000 houses.
Yeah.
Now you're 10 times as many home sales that you have to get closed.
Mm.
And we really, really hone in on the luxury and the boutique part of it, kind of the white
Mm.
glove service, to make sure that our high end clientele have the best experience possible. This is a huge asset for them. And a lot of them, it's their biggest asset, almost for anyone.
Well, absolutely.
So,
Pretty much.
yeah. So,
Your home's going to be
that,
the most expensive thing that you buy.
yeah. And So we want to make sure it's the best possible experience. And getting the correct agents in there. I mean, the number one rule of our company is no
Mm.
assholes. We have shirts
That's a
everywhere.
good rule. That's a
It
very good rule.
is. So we want high integrity, high ethics people that want to sell real estate and they're just not an asshole because there's a
Yeah,
lot of assholes in this business
I can
for
imagine.
sure.
Yeah. So, what are some of the ways that you make the experience very special for your clients?
Uh, you know, for us, it's really making sure that we go from A to Z with the least amount of hassle for them. So we've got the relationship set up to where, hey, we've got you under contract. Okay, here's a home inspector. Here is a pest company. Here's your cable, like broadband. Here's your electricity. Here's all this. And so here's the title company. This is where you send the escrow. So we really hold their hand from contract to close and then post closing, which by the way, post closing is the most important part of the whole thing.
Okay.
But so for us, it's having the relationships, and because of those relationships, we can get things a lot faster than maybe another agent that's just starting out. We've used our home inspector for 7 years now, and he's absolutely fantastic. We do have some others
Mm.
that we refer to, but this guy, because we've given him so much business, he'll put us right on the schedule, sometimes to the top of the list. And to be able to get that out of the way, negotiate if we need to, and then move on. If we're on the buy side, it's hands off for them. They really only have to deal with either transferring money if it's cash or dealing with the lending company. That's it. We handle everything else, and that's really where the white glove experience comes in. And from the listing side, uh, we have our model. We want to sell your home for the most amount of money in the shortest time with the least amount of hassle. And we stand by that. Basically, we get in there, we have the listing appointment, we stage the home or declutter the home, we do pictures, we list it, we deal with all negotiations and contracts, and we make sure it closes on the other end. So we want our buyers and sellers to be as hands off as possible because this is a stressful situation.
Mm.
Like, I don't know if you've ever bought or sold a home, George, but it's
Nope.
nerve wracking. That's for
Yeah.
sure. It's very nerve wracking.
They say
So
moving house is one of the most stressful things a human being can do.
1,000% true.
Yeah.
You
So that's
know,
true.
I already told my wife we bought this house 2 years ago, and I told my wife I'm like I don't want to move again. I
No,
don't. And if we
never
do,
again.
I'm hiring a company, and we're going to spend a lot of money having them move us because I just don't want to do it.
Just don't want to deal with
You
it.
know,
Yeah, I mean,
no,
even if you get
definitely
a
don't
company
want
to
to do
move
it.
you, your new house is just going to be filled with cardboard boxes with all your stuff. Like, there's no
Yeah, you
way
have
to
to
get around
unpack
the
it.
stress. Yeah. Tell them to unpack it as well, yeah. So, would you, if you could go back and speak to yourself, say 15 years ago, what kind of advice would you give younger Hank?
I think the kind of advice I would give myself is like work as hard as you can and everything will fall into place. Don't be scared of the unknown is kind of another thing. I think too many people live in fear. Fear of are they going to be able to put food on the table? Fear are they going to have shelter over their head? Fear if I can make a car payment, things like that. My wife and I were very Christian based with everything, and at the end of the day, we know that God's got us. Our interpretation of God and that he's going to take care of us through all the trials and tribulations. So I think I was very fearful 15 years ago, kind of going into life like I don't really want to do hospitality, but I don't know what else to do. And, just go for it more.
Mm,
And I think I've embodied some of that, but it's taken me a while to kind of embrace that mentality.
yeah. Absolutely. Do you think your faith has gotten stronger from all the trials and tribulations you've been through getting into real estate?
Oh yeah, definitely. 100%. You know, and
Mm.
it's not the easiest thing to do is to trust in something that other people don't believe in, or that you can't physically see. Um, but again, it's so funny too that you asked this, because every single time that we've been like down or haven't had a closing, or you know, um, kids get sick, whatever it is, we just try and lean in, and we just say God's got us. And then like 2 days later, boom, we get a big contract, or hey, the kids aren't sick anymore. Or, hey, we can afford that vacation now. It's pretty powerful, and it's scary though. But at the same time, we just like to lean in, and it has all worked out. It's
Yeah.
very, very funny how it is just completely, moved into the right direction. Instead of feeling down or not trusting or moving away, you just kind of put your head down and you keep hustling and grinding, and know that something's gonna pop.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the only way to achieve anything is to believe it's going to work. Because if you don't believe it's going to work, you don't even stand a chance. Your mindset is going to be so negative and prevent you from actually getting anywhere with it. Um, I imagine that positive mindset within real estate is like absolutely crucial to keep going and to be successful.
Yeah, it's funny, because everyone says that like I'm one of the most charismatic and enthusiastic people they've ever met. And I'll
Yeah,
walk into a room and I'm just like, woo, yeah, let's go, let's do this. And
I love that.
I just bring the energy for days.
Mm,
And people always say, like, how do you have so much energy? How do you keep your good spirits? And it's just, again, I lean back on my faith, and I also lean on my experience, you know, my
mm,
past experience, and just kind of use that to move forward. But if you're going to do something, do it 100%. Do it to your highest ability.
mm.
Otherwise, why are you doing it? A lot of
So,
people, they have a job. Do you know what job stands for?
nope.
Just over broke. That's what a
Right.
job is. And it's true.
Yeah.
You live
Yeah.
paycheck to paycheck. But if you go in there and you're enthusiastic and you're charismatic and you care and you love about what you're doing, it's not a job anymore. It really isn't. It's a career. It's something you love to do. And if you haven't found that yet, dude, take the leap, get rid of the fear, and go and do it, because we're limited on time. We only have
Yeah.
so much time, and we can't get it back. And so, you know, make yourself happy, make your family happy. Stop being miserable, punching the clock 9 to 5. That just doesn't work out. And you're gonna be just over broke, paycheck to paycheck, barely paying for things.
Yeah.
And I hate to see people do that, but a lot of people are just on this hamster wheel, and what it comes down to too, I believe, is comfortability. They're
Mm.
comfortable with that. They know the check's coming on Friday, and that, they'll pay their little bills, and, maybe if they save enough, they'll go on a vacation in 10 years, instead of living life, because we're not promised tomorrow. We definitely
Mm.
aren't.
It's in our nature to not change until things are so uncomfortable that we have to make a change.
Exactly.
It's part of the reason why we've survived so long as creatures, but it's not always useful or helpful in modern life.
Yeah. In real estate, one of the things I also impress on agents is, there's two reasons why I got into real estate. One was unlimited earning potential. You can make as little or as much as you want in this business.
Mm.
And the second one was freedom of time. You know, Now this isn't freedom of time. Hey, it's a Tuesday. I'm gonna just go to the beach. It's
Yeah.
it's not that kind of freedom of time. It's, hey, my kid is sick. I can take him to the pediatrician. I don't have to like go clock out. I don't have to go ask my boss because I am my
Yeah.
boss.
Yeah.
I'm I'm my own
Exactly.
boss, you
Mm.
know. And I've built a relationship with my clients and customers to say, listen, my son's sick. I got to reschedule. Hank, no
Mm.
problem.
Of course.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. No one's
so
gonna get mad about that.
they shouldn't. And if they do, then I don't want to work with them.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
You
one
know,
of the
but
biggest things that drives me is that freedom of time. Because if I'm working my job full time, then I have to wake up at a certain time. I have to be at this
Mhm.
place at a certain time, be in meetings that I don't care about. But like today's been my day. So I just woke up when I wanted to, went for a beautiful walk down the canal, had a coffee in a coffee shop, and then came here to record this podcast. Like, it's beautiful, and there's a lot different kinds of types of wealth than just like financial freedom. It's that
yeah,
freedom of time, freedom of location. Um, but yeah, no, I resonate with that.
yeah. I mean, if you want to take holiday, you just go. Because I know that's
Yeah,
what you guys
exactly.
call it. You guys call it holiday.
Yeah, we call it a holiday. It's vacation in the States.
Yeah, vacation.
Vacation,
Yeah, we
right?
go on a vacation. So, I
I don't
mean,
think I've
that's the
ever
other
said
thing.
that
Like, if we
word
want
in
to
my
go
life.
vacation,
Yeah, I don't think I've ever said. I've read it and I've heard it, but I've never said, "Yeah, I'm going on vacation."
I know us
Put my finger
Americans
up.
are a little weird. Call it a vacation. Who knows where that
Nah,
even came from? But
who knows?
you know,
Who knows?
if we want to take the kids on a 4 day weekend, we do it. You know, you pull them out of school and you go and we have that freedom for being entrepreneurs and owning our own business to be able to do that. And instead of asking permission.
This is it.
So that
Love that.
I want to be my own boss at the end of the day. Um, and I think that's something that is lacking. Like a lot of people want to
Mm.
be entrepreneurs, but they don't know how to do it, or they don't do it to their full potential. Like they don't get out there and they don't hustle and grind. They think it should just be given to them, and that's just not how it works at all.
No,
And so
I mean, I don't think anybody really ever figures it out, but at least with me, I've tried loads of different things until I found something that actually starts to work. And I think, just working as hard as you can on whatever it is and
mhm.
sticking to one thing. Like I've been doing social media marketing for the past 7 months now, and I only started to see results with it after like 5, 6 months, because it's only recently that
Mhm.
what I've been working on has come into fruition and got to a point where I can replace my income. Because this stuff never happens overnight, and you never work it out overnight. But if you stick to it,
No.
yeah, and you want it bad enough, and you're positive, then I think you can make it work.
Yeah, and we actually say that in the States that you have to do something for 6 months to actually see results. Because if you do it for less, you're not going to see the results. You're going to get down and you're just going to give up. But
Sure.
here, you do start to see it around 6 months. It's true. It's proven true. And that's like when I first started, man, I wanted to give up. I was like going to the office and I was in there 6, 7 days a week, trying to build this business. And it's hard. It is super hard, especially when you got a young family and no money's coming in and you're living off of waiting tables and bartending. It's not the
Yeah,
easiest thing to do,
it's really
but
tough.
I could always see the light at the end of the tunnel. I always knew that there was something that if I worked hard enough, I could get to the point I'm at now,
Mm.
and be happy, versus trying to struggle or going back to hospitality and just living that life where I was becoming miserable. So it's
Well,
like seeing that end goal.
yeah, like when you saw your friend with the massive commission, that must have inspired you and given you proof that it could work. So you were like,
Hmm.
someone has done this before. Many people have done this before. I can make it work if I try hard enough. And yeah, that's part of the reason why I continued doing what I was doing, because I had a mentor and I could see that it does work. I just had to put the hours in and keep trying.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't be afraid to ask people like a mentor or someone that's doing it at a high level.
Mm.
Ask them those questions, reach out to them. A lot of them will actually give back to you and they'll give you the
Mm,
golden egg. The
this
problem
is
is,
it.
what are you going to do with it?
Mm,
You know?
that's up to you. Um,
Exactly.
you've seen Star Wars, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Big
So
fan.
Luke is like a nobody. He's a little bit talented. Then he meets Obi-Wan and he becomes like a Jedi Master.
Absolutely.
So it's this hero's journey that I learned about when I was in film school that is in like so many movies. Is you get this nobody, he's happy with stuff, something bad happens. He meets a mentor, he becomes strong enough to defeat the bad thing that happened, and that's it, basically. Um, so I'd never really had a mentor in my life until recently when I did actually get one, and then that was part of my hero's journey with getting to the point where I am now. And without that proof that it can work, it's so easy to get lost and demotivated because you're just like, well, what am I even trying to do here? Like, has this ever been done before? I'm no visionary.
No, you got to have a vision. You got to stick with it. No fear.
Mm,
And I know that is not the easiest thing to do, but you got to have no fear, and put yourself out there. Like, I mean,
mm,
what's the worst that's going to happen? Someone's going to tell you no. Well, if you want it bad enough, guess what? You're going to take that no, you're going to brush it off your shoulder, and you're going to go on to the next one and the next one until you get a yes. And you just
exactly.
keep moving forward from that.
The door-to-door people that I work with, they say that you can be a terrible, terrible salesman, but if you're persistent enough and you can stay positive, you're gonna find someone who just moved in or needs broadband, or someone whose contract just run out, or someone that was looking to
Yep.
buy this specific product. You're gonna find it eventually if you just stick with it. Like, you don't even need any skill. You just need to stay positive and be
Yep.
someone that they would want to buy from.
Yeah. And people feed off that energy too. Like they want that
Mm,
positivity.
mm,
Um, and some of the best people I've ever met is through the roof positivity, enthusiasm, charismatic, and just, don't take life for granted. They just go for it and they love what they do and it shows,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. It's infectious. It's very infectious. If you weren't doing real estate, do you think do you have you ever thought about what else you might have done as a career other than hospitality?
To be honest, probably not. I
No?
thought I'd be in hospitality the rest of my life. I was really, really good at it. I was a
Mm.
general manager of a hotel at 25 years old. Worked my way up really fast. And I thought it was the career for me.
Did you
And I,
enjoy it?
I do still love it. I'll tell you, I still
Mm.
love
Okay.
hospitality. But the problem is the pay's terrible. You got to work nights, you got to work weekends, you got to work holidays. So it's like, that's just like no life, right? We talked about
Yeah.
earlier, like, I'm my own business owner. I can just take off on a weekend if I want to. There, I would be there on a weekend,
Mm.
I'd be there on a
Uh,
holiday.
one of my first jobs, I worked in a pub, and I worked on Christmas Day at like 16. I was 16 years old working on Christmas Day. Like, what, what was I doing? How
Yeah.
did I ever think that was a good idea?
No, and I
But
bet you it was
somebody's got
packed
to.
too.
Yeah, it
Was the
was. It had a lot of dishes to clean because I was just a pot wash back then.
it,
Humble
ex-
beginnings.
it is very humble beginnings. At the end of the day, though, you just got to do it. Like Nike's
Yeah,
slogan, just do it.
just
And I
do it.
and
Just
I
do
say that a
something.
lot.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, I mean, I haven't, now that I'm in real estate, I have thought about, you know, kind of adding to my repertoire. I'm
Okay.
kind of dabbling in commercial real estate as well as investing myself. Um, looking into purchasing like franchises, some kind of passive income. And
Mm.
a lot of the experts say that you need 7 income streams to be financially free for the rest of your life.
7.
So, 7.
And there's
It's a
no
lot.
real passive income though, is there? Because there's always something you had to do to set it up and I imagine maintain it. And also when people talk to me about like passive income, I don't think they truly understand what that would mean if they could even have it. So if you could have unlimited money coming in to live for the rest of your life, how bored would you become then? Because part of the reason why we do what we do is because we love it, not just because of the money.
Yeah.
So yeah, even if you had all the money in the world, you might still be doing real estate. I know I'd definitely still be doing what I love to do.
Yeah. Oh, I tell people that all the time. Like if I won the lottery, I'd still be doing real estate. There's
Mm,
no doubt about it, you know. But coming back to the 7 incomes, 7 passive
mm,
incomes, there is a lot of work up front. But then, so let's just say this: you go and you purchase 10 investment properties, and you get them all fixed up, and you have this initial work into them. Well, hopefully, it's just maintained from there, and you're going to get a rent check every single month. That's considered passive income. Um,
definitely.
but you're
Yeah.
right, though. You got to work for it in the beginning. But I would want to do that. Like my other passive income streams that I want to work on are for my kids. They're not for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's building wealth for them for their future.
Do you think
And
you would have been as entrepreneurial if you were like came from a more wealthy family?
I think it depends on, what was the wealth. So was the
Okay.
wealth in a business and I was going to take over the business,
Yeah.
or was the wealth just like old money? So it's kind of, I think I can't even put myself in those shoes because I grew up pretty
Yeah,
poor.
no.
That,
Yeah, same. Well, we
yeah,
still are, to be honest.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Part of the
it's,
reason why I'm so driven is because I want to change that.
mhm.
So I don't know if when I am successful, it sounds horrible, but like, how much do I want to give my kids? Because I want them to have an amazing upbringing, but
Mhm.
I don't want them to become spoiled and uh, unmotivated. So I imagine that's quite tricky to navigate when you have kids.
Absolutely. And my dad and my mom were always like, hey, if you want something, you got to work for it. Like,
Hmm.
I didn't get a cell phone until I was 18 because I had to sign for my own contract. They wouldn't sign
Yeah.
for me, you
Right.
know? And cell phones were just kind of really coming out when I was 18. So,
Hmm.
it's not like it is today where 9-year-olds have iPhones, which
Yeah.
is crazy because I got a 9-year-old and he's like, I want an iPhone. And I'm like, no,
No, you
no,
don't
I'm
need
not,
one.
yeah, I'm not putting you into that world yet.
Hmm.
Um, so they always instilled work hard and you're gonna get it. If I wanted a vehicle, I had to go work summers really hard so that I could get my first vehicle, which was a small S10 truck. And because they instilled that in me, I know that I'm already instilling that in my boys. You
Gotcha.
know, and that's not gonna change. I want them to work for stuff. Yeah, I mean, I do spoil them. Don't get me wrong. My wife probably more than me. But
Nothing wrong with that.
no, there's, again, you want your kids to possibly have a better life than you did.
Yeah.
Or not even say possibly. You want them to have a better life than you did. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to give them things. They have to
Hmm.
earn it. However
Hmm.
they earn it is on them.
Hmm.
And that's just what I instill. I come from a little bit different generation than like the millennials and these. I don't even know what the next young
Gen
generation,
Z?
Gen Zs. Yeah. So I'm an X. I'm an Xer,
Okay.
Gen X. So
Generation X. The
yes,
best radio
absolutely.
station.
So we had to work for things, and
Yeah.
and growing up poor kind of gave me that work ethic, uh,
Mm.
to to be able to make it and work for what I want instead of thinking that it just needs to be given to me.
Yeah. 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 That's why I got my first job because I didn't have any money coming in. So I was like, let me make some money, and I made like 300 quid in a month, and I was like, I am rich. I can go buy some new jeans, some shoes that aren't hand-me-downs from my brothers. This is amazing. I love that. And then as time went on, I started to realize like how little money you make working like wage. So if you work hour to hour, if you're selling
Hmm.
your time, because it's the first time that I worked doing my door-to-door job and I made like £70 for one deal, and you can make up to 10 deals in a day. I was like, whoa, like there is so many opportunities out there. Like
Hmm.
it sort of changed my whole perception on money in general, um,
Hmm.
and inspired me to like do more with what I have, you know, available.
Yeah, no, it's uh, I always say too that money's not everything,
Hmm.
but it does help.
When you
It does
don't have
help.
money, then it becomes your whole world for a time.
It does. Um, Here in the States, we do have a lot of government aid for those that are, of
Hmm.
of below the poverty level, I guess is what we would call it. And some people don't want to work because they have that government check coming in. But for me, that was never instilled in me growing up. Even though
Right.
my parents are both teachers, teachers were not paid very well. They're still
Hmm.
not paid very well, which is sad. You have sports
No, yeah.
athletes making hundreds of millions a year, and you've got teachers making 50,000 a year. You know,
Yeah.
which is
It
it's
drives a lot of
just
the good
it's
teachers away.
it does. But the teachers that stayed, why did they stay? Because they love
Yeah,
it.
because they love it.
They love working with the kids, and the pay is just a byproduct of that. You know, but
Yeah, man. My camera's just frozen. 1 second. It's a very flattering freeze frame.
yeah, does look good. I like
The red?
the red W, or the white W with the red background.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Coming back. Can you see me?
Yep.
There we go. But yeah, we've been talking for a little while now, so we'll just sort of wrap it up, I think, as much as it's
Yeah.
been a pleasure speaking to you, Hank. Do you have any like closing thoughts for someone looking to get into real estate or basically start their entrepreneurial journey?
We've talked about a lot of different things,
Hmm.
and I've enjoyed our conversation too, George. I was a little kind of skeptical. I was like, oh, this guy's out of the blue, wanting me to come on a podcast. Um,
Yeah, it's quite
but
strange.
no, it is. But at the same time, like this is how you make connections, and this is what it's about, because I'm sure we'll stay in touch and cheer on each other's businesses moving forward, and that's what it's about. But for someone getting into real estate or wanting to be an entrepreneur, you have to put in the time, and you have to hustle, and you have to grind. And at the end of the day, don't lose the art of customer service. I think is the biggest thing.
Hmm.
If you want it for just money, you're doing it for the wrong reason, because that's going to be a short-lived experience. But if you do it the customer service way and you pour your heart into it and you're enthusiastic, then it's going to be a very loving and awesome road and journey, um, basically to whatever your goals are. So if you're going to do it. Hustle, grind, smile, laugh, and put the customer first. That's
Enjoy it.
kind of the biggest thing that I've done in my own business and what's made us successful over the years.
It's amazing. Okay.
I left you
Um,
speechless.
yeah, I don't know what to say. But yeah, that's beautifully put. I'm gonna just end the recording now, but if you just stay on the call for a second, um,
Sure.
just have a quick chat. All right, thanks for listening, guys. Take care.